I got some intel for us. Oh, did you get info on good places serving pudding? I want to eat some Lowee made pudding too. I would be more interested in hearing new game releases in Lowee. No, I don't think any of those can be labelled as intel. Do you have any information on soy pudding? Not you too, Lady Blonde. Oh, stop stressing, Iffy. So what's this juicy intel you got? I wouldn't be stressing if it weren't for everyone. Back on subject, Basilicom will be getting weapons from Avenir today. What? How dare they? Now hold on there a bit, we still got time to nab them. I see, sorry for raising my voice there, so where will this be led? At the Avenir number 2 storage facility. All the way in Lastation? Heal, Blonde, heal. I'm no dog, hell no am I gonna let them plant crap like those here. We do know where and when, so I believe there's only one course of action. We're going to stop them. That's up my alley, leave it to me for randomness in events. Nep is perfect, she's the queen of the land of random. Randomness is in a hero, now that is quite a new take. I'm actually doubting that you're really an amnesiac right now. Okay, no time to gang up on Nep, we need to get back to Lastation quick. But I can't leave here open. Lady Blonde, let us brothers follow Lady Vert in place then. We'll protect Lady Vert, Lady Compa, and the transformed Lady Neptune. You're just gonna guard those turtles. You guys leave your asses here. We just wanted to help the goddesses in sincerity. Well, now I believe you need not worry about the opening. Let us go now. Ah, the sorrow Lady Vert will be leaving our presence. Staying behind is a noble deed as well. I ask you carry the deed in honor. With our very lives. Why am I putting up with these guys? Irritating. You seem to be in sync there, Lady Blonde. Would you like to educate them later with me? I would be honored. This is not going to end well. And on that note, welcome back to part 14 of Neptunia Reverse, where today we're back off to Lastation to find that storage facility number 2. But first we got a voice cutscene.
This is Lastation.
Yep. Blonde, is this the first time you're here?
Yes. I never went anywhere outside, aside from Planetoon.
Why only Planetoon?
There's a special event held twice a year there, and never mind.
Event? You mean like a festival? Compa, did we have any in Planetoon?
There's the summer festival, but I don't know any other.
It's an event none of you would understand.
I sense affinity with Blonde. How unexpected that she is on my side.
Now I really want to know. Come on, tell old Nep what this festival is.
Okay now, we got better things to do, so save the talking until later.
Blonde and Iffy are such killjoys. Oi, I forgot, but maybe we can ask Noir for help.
Noir?
Lastation CPU, Blackheart.
That's right. Her name was something like that.
Let's at least go see her. I bet she's all alone by herself without friends.
My, does Noir not have any friends?
Please don't take it seriously. Nep is the only one saying that.
Nope. My intuition and stand power is telling me she has no friends. Heck, Noir trying to fix Lastation herself is like saying you got no friends.
Considering Noir's personality, it doesn't surprise me.
Yes, her hard-headed approach isolates her from everyone quite easily.
Poor Noir. Everyone is talking smack behind her.
Oh, and Bert, why do you have those glasses on?
It's a disguise. It would be bothersome if someone found another CPU here.
Okay. I'll let that jiggle of yours pass this time, but you do bring out a good point. Perfect. Disguise complete.
I appreciate this game's commitment to the ongoing joke that somehow wearing a pair of glasses is more than enough to be a completely functional disguise that won't get you noticed at all. Despite the fact that people wearing the glasses have the most distinct clothing choices out of anyone in the game, ignoring, Vert's features. We are disguised after all, plus I'm good with people as well. If we work together, we can make any man bend backwards for us. And so, Vert and Blanc are going into Lastation's, currently controlled Basilicom, because they're controlled by Avenir to try and convince them to let us through. As now, what brings you to the Basilicum? We came in hopes of seeing Lady Blackheart. May we have the honor of seeing the lady? It cannot be done. Lady Blackheart is not seeing anyone now. Well, why are you closing in on me? Well, I do have a hard time seeing, so I need to come close. So, again, about meeting the lady. No means no. Can you please make an exception? No. Please? You too. I want to see the lady. Oni-chan. Oni-chan? Who are you calling brother? Are you sure? Even after our pleas? How many times do I have to tell you no? Oni-chan. I'm not your brother. Just because I'm a guy doesn't mean it'll work. I got no interest in little girls like you. Now get out. Report, Sergeant. Mission failed. I can't believe the two directional aspects didn't work. So I guess we can't expect Noir to help much then. I am truly sorry. By the way, Blan, the Oni-chan theme was a bit off. I just read in a book that men like those approaches. Oh ho, what's this about an Oni-chan? You stupid! It's none of your concern. Oh, why are you blushing, Oni-chan? Vert, why are you anymore and I'm gonna reap the melons of yours. I want to see the lady, Oni-chan. Stop it! All you are doing were hanging those udders of yours. All I did was use my aptitudes. Not that you would understand. What did you say, tits for brains? Seeing them jiggle makes me want to puke. I can't... For God's sake, this game. I warned you when this game started that this game turns into like 99% boob jokes. Alright, that's it. I'm sending those lumps of fat of yours to the grave. My, do you really think you have what it takes to defeat me? Iffy, I feel like the console war is going to start like now. It has nothing to do with console. This is just painful. Let me stop this. I mean, that's the nightmare. I had this same problem with Net V2R. I'm trying to read the lines and I just end up giggling because of just the game's stupid sense of humor. I love it, but it's so stupid sometimes. And it's like, yeah, this game very much introduces that joke and they don't stop running with it for the most of the series. That, Blan and Vert, they usually clash and it's entirely just because of how drastic of a difference their chest sizes are. And they do keep that joke as that for like most of the series. Like, they rarely don't make it pop at each other because of it. They stop trying to kill each other later on at least, but yeah, they do always take pops at each other. So Blan, how are you planning to stop the exchange? Easy, I'll destroy everything. Blan really thinks exactly how she looks. Did you say something? No sir, nothing sir. Still, it does make sense. It would deter any future transactions. If so, let us hurry, as depending on numbers, this may take some time. Just like that, we're in another storage facility. There absolutely won't be a trap in any sense of the word whatsoever. Also, you'll notice that I've immediately put on like new clothing on Blan. The costume she's wearing is actually the Ultra Dimension version of Blan's costume, because I just prefer it. Her normal default costume is based on the Nintendo Wii, but where Ultra Dimension is supposed to be a lot more primitive, a lot of the characters got redesigned to be like an older console. And so Vert looks like an Xbox original, as opposed to the 360 design that she gets in this, or the 360 theme design. Noir gets a PS1 theme design, and Blan gets a NES design, hence the white and red. And the reason why she's got a black hat is because I didn't want to buy the classic hat and give her a red hat as well, so the black hat was the next best thing. And yeah, it's like it's based on her Ultra Dimension look. And if it's, I know what will happen. I'll do this customization with the goddesses. I'll end up making them all kind of look like how they look like in Victory, the Ultra Dimension version. We'll get to the third game and I'll make them look like their defaults. Because I actually don't mind the dress up, the jersey dress up that Nep has in the third game. A lot of people don't like her dress up in the third game compared to the Parker dress she usually wears. And I know almost the entirety of the reason why is that it's coincidental that the only game that she really wears it is also the only game where Neptune's character is really bitchy. And I haven't really talked about it, but there is something that I did bring up back in the reviews many years ago. that it feels like they took a while to really find what they wanted to do with Neptune's personality. And like, I feel like they kind of got it in the second game, but in the third game where she was more dominant, the cracks of what they were going for started to show more with her personality. And then in the fourth game, they kept a little of like what was good about her personality in Victory, but cleaned it up to make it a lot more appreciable, more casually. And what I mean with this, stop beating around the bush, is simply Neptune is really bitchy in the third game. And not as in the complaining bitchy, as in she always has to have a jab at everyone. Like the entirety of her sense of humor in the third game is bullying humor, basically. She just always takes jabs at everyone and like little, like kind of harsh insult jokes at everyone. It just makes her really difficult to appreciate as a protagonist. And it was something I straight up criticized in the third game. I didn't like Neptune's personality in the third game. And I equally didn't like the fact that the game didn't challenge it, really. It wasn't like a character growth thing that they were deliberately making it. No, they genuinely thought they were making Nep really funny when they were writing it, and so made her really bitchy and just kept it. That's also the same game that really underwrote Netgear as well, which also wound me up at the time, because I really like I prefer Netgear as a protagonist. I say this specifying in the first two games, if I had to pick a protagonist between Neptune in this game and Netgear in the sequel, I prefer Netgear. Because although she isn't as comedic, anywhere near as comedic as Neptune, there's a lot more personality and she actually goes through character development. Whilst Neptune for the most part is the crazy goofball amnesiac that just becomes a crazy goofball but has her memories. Like, she doesn't really grow in this game. Like, some characters kind of do. Like, Blanc already has a little bit, and you'll see more of it as it goes on. Where Blanc is very, this is my problem, I will deal with it, even if it's not wise to do things alone. And she's already showing little signs of getting a better understanding of, well, yeah, no, it's not wise to fight alone. I should probably be having teammates to help me out. And it's similar with Noir, because Noir's very isolationist to begin with, but because of that, she actually hates not having anyone really around her in her life that she can rely on. Which makes her relationship with Uni, her little sister from the second game onwards, I guess more interesting, even if they never feels like they're 100% sure what they want to do with it. Because Noir's an isolationist that doesn't like being alone. Like, she works best alone, and her lifestyle makes her continue to be alone, but she doesn't enjoy it. But because she's so used to it, she's very rejective of any kind of sisterly relationship with Uni. Like, she very much puts Uni to one side to focus on business and life, when literally Uni would be the answer to a lot of her problems if she's never going to date Neptune. Just hang out with your sister a bit more, you know? Yeah, and I think that's what, like, Blanc, I think, needed the little sisters. Like, just to talk about the sequel a little bit, like, because if you haven't played the rest of the series, I'll reiterate, Neptune in Hyperdimension, in the canonical universe, everyone except Vert has a little sister. Neptune has a little sister called Netgear, who is a very shy but very techie girl. Like, she's a proper tech whiz that can, like, hack computers and everything, like that kind of level tech girl. But she can fight too, but she has a lot of confidence issues, which is why I said she's very shy. Uni is somewhere in between Noir and Netgear. Like, because Netgear, other than being shy, is very earnest and very naive and sweet and caring and wants to love the world and see the best of it kind of thing. Uni has kind of got that tsundere, slightly isolationist style to her, like her big sister Noir, but is at least more willing to bend a knee to try and help others out, even if it just means being a bit more social. Like, she can see when being an isolationist isn't wise and can act on it, almost making her slightly more mature in that sense, if it wasn't for the fact she's extremely naive and very, very controlled by her emotions. Blanc has twin little sisters. She has Rom and Ram. I adore Rom. I'm not the biggest fan of Ram. I mean, like, I say that Ram's got better as the games go on, but in her introduction in the second game, I just found Ram really annoying. And essentially, how they worked it with Rom and Ram is that they split Blanc's personality in two. Blanc is very softly spoken, very bookwormy, and just, like, very much keeps to herself. But if you wind her up, explodes in anger very loudly, and completely flips her shit, and is very aggressive to everyone. what they did with Rom and Ram is that Rom is 110% that soft, quiet, book-y side of Blanc, whilst Ram is the more louder version of Blanc. Just minus the swearing because they're 10. But yeah, Ram is very like loud and vibrant and more often than not too much, at least for me. So in the second game I just found her more annoying than anything else, and I know that's partially like my own like stigma. Like kid actors or child voices in anything I very rarely enjoy. I tend to find them annoying characters, no matter how desperately they try and make them lovable. Even the best ones in the industry have had moments where they've wound me up. Clementine from the Walking Dead game is a good example of what I mean. I adore her for the most part, but she still does shit and she has the odd line where I sit there and go, what? Oh, okay. Then you go into season 2 and I just don't like Clem in season 2. Doesn't matter what you do with her character, she's just very arrogant for no good reason. And I haven't bothered with season 3 and 4, so I can't comment on them. I just kind of drifted after that. Which, speaking of, like, that was something that, when I first started doing YouTube, it was on the table as something I was considering doing, which was going to be the Walking Dead game Season 1. And my intention was going to be that I was only going to do Season 1. But because I was only doing Season 1, I had no intention of continuing it. It ended up kind of putting me off, because I didn't really click with Season 2. When I say that, I didn't hate Season 2. I still enjoyed a lot of it. It just wasn't the same. Like they got the lightning in the bottle with the first season, and they just couldn't quite replicate in the second, I felt. Even though it definitely tried at points, and definitely got close in a few other points. But in the third season, like, being focused on a completely different protagonist just kind of sat weird with me. And then when I found out that no matter what of the 5 endings you got at the end of Season 2, it didn't matter, because they just kind of wrote out a random, any extra character either died or went missing, and Clementine just ended up in this same space anyway, regardless of what ending you did in Season 2. Just wound me up enough at the time that I just didn't bother. Because it really felt needless. That it's like, well, why make us spend the whole of Season 2 essentially building towards 1 of 5 endings, and then have it not mean anything, you know? And then with Season 4, that was when everything kicked off with Telltale, where they, like, you know, went bankrupt and didn't pay a penny to a single member of their employee, and then tried to pretend that Walking Dead was a Telltale brand that is a Telltale name and not, you know, the name of the people that work on it, which is just really, really arrogant, and I just haven't gone back since. Like, I know they managed to get some money together, some resources to build the game together, but it sat wrong with me enough that I just decided to steer clear. And I probably will steer clear from them from this point onwards in the future. Which is a shame, because I did enjoy their games. I didn't enjoy all of them. Also, yeah, there's that special. Blanc, that special with Blanc is a slightly different animation if you're in the Whiteheart form. Because in the Whiteheart form, she's got like that battle suit on. But yeah, you don't get that little ding sound effect from her at the end of the last strike there. It's only because she's wearing a skirt, so you see that. Because yes, this game can be rather perverted at times. Like I said, the first Nep game is like 90% boob jokes. Like they try and tell a story here and there, but until the second game where they start getting a little bit more mature and more serious, no, they just on this game go, you know what? A sense of humor will pull people in, I hope.
What a nice surprise.
You?
Oh, it's you again. Ganache equals enemy is getting a bit old. What's your thoughts on that, Compa?
I'm tired of seeing Ganache too. I'd like to see someone new.
Well, it seems like that mouth of yours hasn't changed.
So why sell to Lowee? Profit aside, you're just making them stronger.
It seems there is a major misunderstanding.
Misunderstanding? What you mean by that?
Living in Lastation doesn't mean we revere the CPU here.
Wait, you mean?
I revere only one, and that is Lady Whiteheart. I will level Lastation with joy in the name of Lady Whiteheart.
To see a spy in the mix was quite unexpected.
Now's our chance.
What's the matter, Nep Nep?
Well, Ganache follows Whiteheart, so he follows Blonde. That means if Blonde talks with him, we can skip this battle flag.
If so, leave it to me. I'd rather talk than fight anyways.
Are you done talking? I have another task waiting for me, so...
Halt!
What?
If you only knew the power of the white side. Well, I, Neptune, will show you your Lady Whiteheart. Behold!
I am Lady Whiteheart!
No. No, that's not true. That's impossible.
Live long and be prosperous.
I see Neptune is incredibly incorrect blending things here.
You can't be.
Ganache, was it? I understand your dedication to serve me, yet to do so in sacrifice of others is not what I want to see. I will forgive you, so stop such foolishness.
Lady...
What? What? I can't hear you. Speak up like a man.
No! You can't be Lady Whiteheart! You must be the fake I'm hearing of!
The hell you saying? I'm the real one and the other one is fake.
No! You're the fake!
Idiot! I'm telling you, I'm the real deal. Figure it out already.
No, 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 no! My angelic Lady Whiteheart would never be this much of a swearer!
Ugh!
Oh, I've seen these types at expos and conventions before.
It's sad when a reality check slams you back to sense. You know, they kind of go into depression after all this. Right, Iffy?
Why are you looking at me?
Well, you remember when we found the hidden link on Vert's blog? You were like, my Lady Greenheart would never be this much of a gamer.
What?
My Iffy, I didn't expect.
No, it isn't true. Don't hate me.
Oh, now don't worry. I would never hate you for that. On the contrary, I would love to see what other surprises you hold for me.
Lady Vert. Shut your holes over there!
Yikes!
Get your smooch out of my way. I got some stinking crap to take care of.
That confirms it! You cannot be Lady Whiteheart! She's loving, caring, so you can't be her!
Whoa. I thought he was more refined, but I guess not. So hardcore.
I'm a little scared.
Who knew Blonde's personality would get in the way of resolution?
Oh, sure. Sorry for my unrefined self.
Now, are we done with all the prattle?
Oi, his character is back again.
Unfortunately, I must hurry, so I will get this over quickly.
Okie dokie, back to Slate 1 again.
I do hate fighting myself, so I hope Kilasheen 3.0 will suffice.
Nep, time to transform and beat up the bad robots!
Okay, Compa, here I go.
Please, Lady Vert.
My for you? Of course. Come to think of it, I don't think you've seen me like this before.
Honestly, I am quite surprised. That bumbling Neptune being the CPU for Planetoon.
Well, you don't look that surprised.
Does it look like that? I am doing my best here to show it. In any case, I will have you all perish in the name of Lady Whiteheart.
Alright, time for another showdown with the Kilasheen. An even stronger variant of it. With the badass, like, chapter end boss theme playing again. Even though it's not actually the chapter end, so I guess that description is the wrong way of putting it. It's just the boss theme they tend to play against the Kilasheen. But it's still a phenomenal boss theme. That's one of the things I can really compliment. Regardless of how critical I am, how, like, justified this remaster is in existing. I love the remixes and I love the new music that they added to this version. Like, they at least put a lot of effort in the soundtrack side of things, even if a lot of smaller details in the actual main game feels kind of lazy for the sake of having a title on this anniversary. And the thing is, the 10th anniversary of Mark II passed us by, I think, like a couple weeks ago. So I think, like, coming very soon, maybe like in the Tokyo Game Show or like at a smaller game fair. So I don't think it'll be something big like Tokyo Game Show, but I really wouldn't be surprised if Reverse 2 gets announced for, like, at some point before the end of this year.
I'm ready anytime.
There's a part of me that kind of hopes not. Like, don't get me wrong, like, I want there to be a Reverse 2 and 3 just so I can cover them on this channel. because like, they'll be on PS5, so it'll be easy for me to just nab them. But I kind of want there to be something else, because like, as I mentioned before, like the biggest reason why there was quite a negative reception around this game being a remaster, even from me, like when it was first revealed to be a remaster, I like bitched and moaned about it quite a bit. I think it was even on video at the time when it came out that I was annoyed. But the reason why I was annoyed and why everyone was annoyed is because it's been so many years since the 4th title. And when they were originally teasing this, they teased it with a giant 5. And so forgive me for thinking that maybe it was going to be the 5th mainline title. So when it turned out that no, they were talking about the 5... I'm not even sure what the 5 actually means, if I'm honest. Because it's not the 5th version of this game either, it's the 4th. So you got the original, Rebirth 1, Rebirth 1 Plus, and now this Reverse, which is the 4th version. So I don't... Like, am I missing something? Like, I don't get why the 5 is there. And then, like I said, in the Western name, they dropped like 90% of the title. So they didn't even keep the Hyperdimension part of the title. Because it was like, they called it like Go-Go 5 Hyperdimension Jingun Game Neptunia or something like that. Like they had like a really long title in the Japanese version. And it just happened to have Reverse at the end of its title. And then in the Western version, they just changed it to Neptunia Reverse. And to be honest, I can't blame them. As long as the 5th game is still called either Hyperdimension or Mega Dimension Neptunia V3, if there ever is a 5th game. And that's the thing, I wonder if they will call it like something that more represents a 5, or if they will call it Victory 3 for the sake of the naming convention, because the 3rd game's called Victory and the 4th is Victory 2. And the reason why they're called Victory is a lot to do with because of how much development progress they made between the 2nd and 3rd game, as well as because they handle themselves pretty different in the Victory games. Both Victory 1 and 2 have dimension hopping, whilst the first 2 games really don't. The entirety of this game is in Super Dimension, the entirety of the sequel is based in, Hyper Dimension, the canonical one. Whilst the 3rd game, you only spend a little bit of it in Hyper Dimension and the rest in Ultra, and in the 4th game, you spend Act 2 in Hyper Dimension, but Act 1's in Zero and Act 3's in Heart Dimension. Well, most of Act 3's in Heart Dimension. You start Act 3 in Hyper, you have to break into Heart first.
Leave it to me.
But this Killer Sheen, just like the other ones, really... Like, once you've dealt with that first Killer Sheen at the end of Chapter 2, you know what to expect from the rest going forward. They really aren't as bad. It's just that first one in Chapter 2 that can be such a brick wall of difficulty. There's still one more boss coming up that I would say can be a pretty brick wall in difficulty if you're not ready for it. But that's just because of its gimmick, not actually because of its difficulty. Like, as this fight goes on, I'll talk about it again when we get to it. But there's a boss later on that has 2 minions with it. And if the whole time those 2 minions are alive, you can't access everything in your arsenal. Because one of those minions is Item Jammer, so you straight up cannot use items until it dies, and the other is Skill Jammer, so you straight up can't use skills until it dies. When I first got to that fight, I was stuck on it for a while because I couldn't kill those bots quick enough to either get my skills free or my items free so I could start healing people. But thankfully in this game, mostly because of the whole Party of 4 thing, I have a much easier time with it, so I didn't need to grind. Which I think that's also a point worth mentioning. Because of the 4 party member thing, my average party level throughout this game has been about 4 or 5 levels lower than any playthrough I've ever done in this game. So that's why some of these fights end up slightly closer, or I get hit slightly harder. Because my average level is usually a bit higher than this, and it just hasn't been because I've been able to squeeze through fights I usually wouldn't be able to.
Huh. That still didn't do the trick.
I assume it was quite lacking against 3 goddesses.
The heck you laughing about?
I must say the same. I didn't expect one of it to defeat all of you.
Another one?
We have many replacements as needed here in the factory.
There's more of those things here?
Why, of course. You only destroyed 1 out of the entire line. Oh, and if you're having problems over 1, you won't get out of here alive.
You gotta be kidding.
Oh, but I don't like to kid. Let me show you proof. Killashines, come!
Is this it?
What?
Unfortunate for you, none will come to your command.
That voice. Could it be?
It has been a while, Neptune. Or is Purple Heart more proper?
Mages? Why are you here?
I heard bad rumors coming from here, so I just meddled in some affairs.
The explosions! Are these your doings?
Who else? Aside from the contraption there, I, mages, have destroyed them all.
Impossible! How can just one of you destroy all of them? It can't be!
Believe what you believe, but note that what you believe is not reality.
How?
Quite simple. I used magic and destroyed them from the inside.
Huh? All destroyed? By just you?
Now stand, Neptune. I shall assist you once again, as before.
Really? You'll fight with us?
Yes, there is a certain one who would be saddened if you perished here.
And after a bit of help from Magus, Magus has finally joined the party as the first new human character we've got since, I kid you not, IF joined the party. We haven't had a single human new party member in the story since Iffy joined in Chapter 1.
Are you ready?
Magus is pretty cool, but you're gonna kind of notice it a little bit. I usually don't use her too much unless I'm in a really creative run, because usually when I get to this point in the game, when I'm doing like other playthroughs, like I used her in my blind playthrough obviously, but in every playthrough I've done ever since, since you only have a party of 3, I just keep Neptune, Vert and Blan. I don't swap in Magus. But Magus, as her name implies, is full on magic. She doesn't use any physical attacks, she uses full magic. And the beauty of magic only attacks is the range. As you might have noticed when we was on Magus, her attack box that was in front of her was fucking eons away from her. It wasn't at point blank like it is with everyone else. Meaning you can space her out, making it so the Killer Sheen won't target her anywhere near as much. Because although, like I said, the AI has got smarter and smarter over the games, it doesn't change the fact that the AI will still have preferences. It will focus on what's closer over what's further away for the majority of the time. Like, it's not an absolute, so never assume you're safe. Like, Magus will take a random punch here and there, but more often than not, it will attack what's in front of it instead of going for what's in the distance. The only time it will break that trend is if 2 characters are right next to each other, it will do an attack that will hit both. And this is also around the point in the game where Sylphet's Spear and Vert as a whole is going to start showing how overpowered she is. Despite this thing having its guard up, the damage everyone else is doing, even when they use their SP attacks, is only like 2 or so thousand. Vert will hit 9,999 like every time. And whilst we've got Magus in the party, I've talked about before that outside of IF and Compa, because those two are the ones that are actually like super close with Neptune and so always get more plot relevance, Magus is the only one that feels like is kind of justified being a party member, because she saved her asses there, and we know she's after her own objective. So her tailing us along after this, which she will, makes sense. Everyone else after that, when more characters start joining us as the game goes on, it's going to start making less and less sense. Also, this is her EXE, just for the sake of showing it off. But something else I can compliment Magus on, other than the fact that she's got a beauty mark under her eye, which is always a nice little extra charm on characters, is that her entire design is one of my favourites. It being a mixture of like a witch's attire, a scientist's attire, but also being a suit. Like, come on, that's really cool. She's like a proper business mage. Like, it's got that scientific appeal to her. I like that little gremlin grin she does at the end as well there after she does her EXE. But I genuinely adore Mage's design. Of all the human characters in the Neptunia series, she genuinely has one of my favourite designs. And I get it because she's a reference to Steins Gate. Actually, I haven't played Steins Gate, so she might actually be a character from it. I might get my like wires crossed in that one, because I've never played Steins Gate to know if she's actually from it or whether she's just inspired of it. But there are equipment pieces you can buy for her after this that straight up drop Steins Gate by name, which is making me think that maybe she's just straight up a Steins Gate character. And the thing is, that's the thing, I might actually try and play that at some point, because I've heard a lot of good things from it. I've just never got around to giving it a go. I know it's the same deal with Fairy Fencer. I brought Fairy Fencer, I put like an hour into it. To be fair, I enjoyed it, and I just haven't gone back to it since. I need to actually like get the time together to convince myself to give it a go, because I actually enjoyed the characters. And the gameplay was enjoyable as well. I fired it up default on the hard because it's a trophy for beating the game on hard, so I thought, you know what, sure, I'll go for it. Which might have had something to do with what stopped me playing it straight away, because it is actually surprisingly difficult on its hard mode. And if you're saying like, well, yeah, of course it's hard. What are you on about? As my throat goes a little. A lot of Idea Factory games I've played aren't too bad on hard mode. They're usually only slightly worse than normal kind of thing. The only exception I played is that when I did because I've recently gone through Death End Quest 2 again, I did a fresh playthrough on hard. That surprised me how tough it actually was.
I'll finish this.
Because on easy and normal, especially on easy, but that makes sense, most of the difficulty is kind of a joke outside the boss fights. Like, the boss fights can rip your head off, but the actual default encounters really are kind of easy and fall into one another in Death End 2. But in hard mode, I was genuinely surprised how tough some of that game is.
It's my turn.
But, like, Dragon Star, for instance, I don't find that game's hard mode too bad. I mean, you saw when I did the Madness playthrough, although I got caught off guard a couple times, it really wasn't that bad. If you put on strength and enemies in this game, the only thing you have to worry about is, as mages take 7,000 damage there and dies, is viral enemies. Viral enemies rip your head off. And Mary Skelter on hard mode, I really didn't notice a difference, personally.
Take this. Here I come.
And so like it's kind of like a mixed bag, but the hard modes have never felt like too big of a deal. So I was genuinely surprised when I got brick walled by a boss in Fairy Fencer. But at the same time, me saying that maybe that was what stopped me doesn't make much sense, because I love difficulty, and especially in RPGs, I like having to think outside the box and use strategy and use more of my resources. I don't like just like steamrolling it. It's why I have a soft spot for this first Neptunia game, despite the fact it's the most flawed Neptunia in the main series. Like, this game is littered to the brim with problems, but I do genuinely enjoy a lot of its difficulty when it isn't a spike. Like that first boss in Chapter 2 and the boss fight coming up near the end of this chapter, both of them kind of suck with how severe of a difficulty spike they really are. But when the game's just being genuinely challenging and not ridiculous, it's really enjoyable. And so I think the best game in terms of difficulty is actually the third one. I felt Victory 1 / Rebirth 3 Victory Generation were the most balanced, yet still pretty hard. Like, it felt like most boss fights in that game were really close. I just didn't game over at all. Whilst in this game I game overed a lot, but it never felt like I game overed on a boss fight because something just didn't work out. It just felt like a game just decided today's the day I die. Thank you for your help, mages. No need for thanks. I have done nothing of note in particular. Mages, was it? A CPU of Lowee. Let me thank you as well. Your plans have rendered null, Ganache. The heck? Did he lose some bolts in the head altogether of those toys? It's quite a situation, but at least we brought enough time. What? Was there another motive behind this? You were all fooled by your so-called intel. What do you mean? My main goal is to keep you occupied. So that information I had was, yes, a decoy. I believe I have at least one in this regard. Who could it be in this kind of time? Miss IF, it's me. Financier? We need help! The hideout is under attack by the... No! Financier? Financier, what's going on? Hey, what's up with Financier? The hideout is being attacked by the Basilicom. What? I recalled hearing them wanting to test the weapon out. There's no time to talk. We have to get back to Lowee. Well then, adieu to you all. The hell? Wait, Ganache! He's gone. Unfortunate, but I believe there is more pressing matters at hand. Can you come too? I became involved with my will. Let us go. You can get, like, so I think maybe it's because she's a Steins Gate character, it's a crossover character, that you can get like unique costumes for mages. And to be honest, I've never really bothered because I love her default so much, and it's like I'm kind of hesitant. The only thing that I spotted immediately, and I was like, I might try and get it more to show it off on this Let's Play because I just completely forgot about it. You can get a swimsuit for her in this game. Like, there it is. That's actually it. That's perfect timing. The maid's checkers. Like, I go looking for it because I forgot what it was. So I was like, what the hell is this? And then it's like, there it is, maid's checkers. A design for mage's swimsuit. It seems like you can make her swimsuit with this. And I was like, I think I've got to try and make that at some point just to show it off. But I digress. By the way, Blunt, where is this hideout? It's in the city, next to where we met. Then it's quite a distance away, then. There's a shortcut there, but there's no assurance of safety on that route. And next time on Neptunia Reverse, we are going to try and get back to that hideout as soon as possible to stop the attackers from the Basilicom. But until then, you guys take care now, peace.